So many shocking moves for the Birds. Adley is on the IL for longer than we expected. Yenier Canó has been sent to the minors, and our backup catcher injured. He could be out for a while as well. Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest, and in my opinion, this is rock bottom. Cano gets sent down. Adley is going to be out until at least after the All-Star break. Maverick Handley gets hurt in today's game. The Birds drop 2 of 3 to the Yankees, and it's even worse than that. I'm going to get to another injury that you need to know about in just a little while, but this is what rock bottom looks like. This is Orioles Digest. Please like, subscribe, do all of the things, and, let's get to it. We'll begin with Yenier Canó being sent down to the minors. Nobody would have predicted this. Cano obviously has been a huge factor in the back end of that bullpen with Félix Bautista. But you look at this bullpen, there were only 2 guys you could send down, and this bullpen is taxed right now. Only 2 guys with options. It's Cano and Aiken. Those were the only choices. And so the front office picked Cano. Let's look at his numbers. And if you dig into these numbers, they're actually quite interesting. Now, look, nobody's going to argue that Cano was lights out this year. 4.73 ERA and 26 2/3. But since the beginning of May, it's been a 7.41. So, absolutely, you can't make a living off of those numbers. However, if you look deeper into the numbers, Cano was actually looking better than ever in some ways. 27.4% strikeout rate. That's by far the best in his career. Walking opponents at a 7.1 clip, which is 7.1%, much better than last year. His grounder rate has dropped, but it remains overall above average. And actually, some of his other deeper numbers are better than they have been in his whole career. And so this is the bullpen shakeup. Cano gets sent down. Unfortunately, on the same day that Cano gets sent down, Brian Baker implodes today for the Birds in the 8th inning, and the Birds lose 2 out of 3 to the Yankees in a series that they could have easily taken 2 out of 3. As Dean Kramer kept them in the ball game today. They go into the late innings with a 2-1 lead, and then a very taxed bullpen. Remember, 16 games in 16 days blows it for the Birds. That's number one piece of news. Cano gets sent down. Another piece of absolutely horrible news is that Adley is going to be out on the IL for an extended period of time with an oblique injury. Put on the IL, originally put on the 7-day. Now Mansolino on the front office says that Adley's going to be out until after the All-Star break. So you're probably looking at 4 to 6 weeks for Adley to be out. So Maverick Handley gets called up to be the backup catcher behind Gary Sanchez. And then this happens today to Maverick. Take a look. Throw to the plate, Jazz Chisholm, boom, collides with Handley, who tries to make the catch, doesn't hold on. Take a look at it one more time, because this is just it's hard to watch. This is a hard hit. Coming around third, Jazz Chisholm, and he just collides with Handley, and Handley goes down. And this is bad for so many reasons for the Birds. Number one, because obviously Adley just went down. Now Handley went down. Let's see what Tony Mansolino had to say. He said he got hit pretty hard. We haven't seen a collision like that at the plate probably since all the new rules came in. We're evaluating him right now, full body, every part of it. The concussion protocol is a possibility. I am going to go out on a not very far of a limb and say that you're probably going to see Maverick go on the IL, just like Adley Rutschman is on the IL as well. So now what? Now what for the Birds? You know what I think. You know that I want Samuel Basallo up at the big leagues. He had multiple hits again in today's AAA game. I think he should be up in the bigs. I think this is the time. I think the Birds have taken such a hit, in their lineup. I mean, especially because, Adley was starting to hit. Adley in June, small sample size, 20 days. 333 average, 549 slugging, a 946 OPS, and 3 homers. So Adley was starting to come on just as he goes on the IL. So now what? Now what for the Birds? You have the Adley hole in the lineup. You only have one catcher with Gary Sanchez. Nobody else, at least that was in the game today after Hanley left, nobody else had ever played catcher at the major league level. And so now what? I say bring Samuel Basallo up. Probably not going to happen. Mansolino made some extended comments that he would like to see Basallo excel in every part of the game before he's called up. I think he was probably referencing the fact that Basallo's having trouble with the fastball a little bit. He needs to work on his defense. But, desperate times call for desperate measures. What are the other options? Well, David Benuelos is on the taxi squad. He could come up. Chadwick Traum, he's been up a little bit. He could come up. Ironically, James McCann also is around. He was at AAA in the Braves org. Do you see James McCann coming back? But again, I would love to see Basallo come up. But the Birds just, this is the injury list. It kind of goes without saying that, man, this has been just absolutely tough. This is the 21 names of people who've gone on the injured list. This doesn't include Jordan Westburg, who hurt his thumb. He's going to be out a few days, we think, but that too could get extended to an IL stint. So not only have 21 guys been on the IL, 10 are currently sidelined. The big names, the Grayson Rodriguez's, etc. Tyler O'Neill, who the Birds were expecting big things out of, did play in single A today on a rehab assignment. So I suppose that's good news that maybe he's on the way back to the majors. But all in all, a bad weekend for the Birds. I want to hear what you have to say in the comments. Please like, subscribe, do all the things. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest.